But we live in a world where men decide they want to be women, so they just call themselves women, and women decide they want to be men, so they just call themselves men. And that's not the problem. The problem is when those people then demand that you recognize them as such, and then they're able to get their tendrils into certain spheres of influence and power that they can now hurt you if you don't acquiesce to their demands. Uh, speaking of that, actually, Dave, go ahead and bring up this picture right here that I have to show you guys. So this was in the news recently. So that's the health secretary dude named Levine that just recently got promoted to be a 4-star admiral because that's what you think of when you think of, that's basically General Patton, am I right? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, sorry. We're going to try to be light for Adam Sikosin. Anyway, that is a man. That is, bring that back up. That right there is a man. And on the left, you have a picture of two different men. One has long hair. That's all. That is a man. And that article, by the way, Twitter blocks lawmakers' account for misgendering first female 4-star admiral in tweet. So they banned Representative Jim Banks on Twitter because he called Secretary of Health Levine a man, which is true. That is a man. There's no such thing as misgendering. Men are men and women are women. That is a man. But this is really what I wanted to get into today, and it's actually something that Chappelle talked about a little bit in his special, The Closer. In The Closer, he talked about Caitlyn Jenner, the artist formerly known as Bruce, and he talked about how when Bruce Jenner decides to become a woman, he's been a woman for a year, and then he wins like Woman of the Year award from People and Variety and all these different magazines. And I think to myself, man, what an absolute slap in the face to all of the natural born women in the world or in America that, you guys are just do such a shitty job of being women that a man could cut his dick off and now he's a better woman than you. It's just, I know, like right now, Dave is like, I no longer associate with It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Yeah, he's moving off screen. There's this movement of all of these glass ceilings being broken. Like, look, I'm not a feminist, but in the feminist world, there's always talk of women who hit their heads against the glass ceiling. They're smart, they're qualified, they're hardworking, but by God, it's just a man's world and they can't get that top promotion. They can't become a CEO. They can't become a 4-star admiral or general because those are a job for a man and they won't let a woman do it.
Apparently.
And now there's this movement to say that some of these glass ceilings have been broken. Well, look at that. The first 4-star admiral ever of a woman ever. It's happened, ladies and gentlemen, but has it though? Does that count? Is that what you want to say? Do you want to say that we now have broken that barrier and there has been a woman 4-star admiral? Because I don't think you want to say that. Because we haven't had a female 4-star admiral. That is a man. That is a man. And again, it's not about the man who has a mental illness that we're all supposed to pretend is legitimate. That's so sad for women who may strive to that position. Imagine you being a woman who has had a career in the service, who wants to be the first female 4-star admiral. And it's a double whammy. So now not only do you not get to be the first one because a man got to be the first one, but you probably will still never get to be one. The glass ceiling is still intact. Actual women still don't get to have those positions, or so you claim. But they'll pretend as if the ceiling has been broken, but when in fact it was a man. I feel like the people who are going to have to lead the charge against men breaking all of the female glass ceilings, it's got to be women. This segment is for all the ladies out there. All 3 women who are libertarians who listen to this show. This segment is for the women out there. Women will have to be the ones to lead the charge against the transgender fantasy world that these people want to create. That they want to create that fantasy world, and then they want to hurt you when you don't go along with it. Because that's always really the key. That's always how it is with the Noam Chomskys of the world. That's always how it is with this community. That's always how it is with anyone who's vying for state power. It's never enough for them to say, this is how it is. This is how it is for me. That's not enough. They have to then also add comma, and you will go along with it or else. That's how these people always want to get their way. And of course, we're against that. We understand that there's people out there with diametrically opposed worldviews, and we think the best thing for them to do is to peacefully separate. We don't think the right thing to do is for one to lord power over the other. But it's going to take the ladies. The men can't do it. Me and Dave can't do it. The men can't do it because men are not threatened by women who want to staple a dick onto their crotch. Because if you're a lumberjack, some 90-pound woman who calls herself a man can't take your job. Can't do it. But a man who wants to saw his dick off, because I'm a doctor, this is how they do it. They saw it off.
Some technical terms.
Yeah. Well, they use one of those Dremel tools, you know. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm ruining the mood of my own segment. I'm so sorry. But a man who wants to do that to himself and call himself a woman, yes, that motherfucker's going to beat you in weightlifting and the 100-meter dash. So that's not fair. So it'll have to be the women. It'll have to be the women that stand up and say, no, you don't get to take everything I worked for, motherfucker. That's what we need women doing.